Welcome to my little devlog on a game engine that I've spent quite a long time on now. Well, a couple of months, but yeah, I've been pretty consistent with the project. And I just want to talk about it. I am listening to some Halloween lo-fi because it's Booktober, you know. I hope it's not too distracting, but it will be in this throughout this video. But yeah, I have this game engine right here with code which I've coded from scratch. Well, with a tutorial, of course, because from the Cherno, because he's someone that worked at EA, has a lot of knowledge of game engines. But yeah, well, I have so this is my game engine for now. It has like these 4 panels here. We have the scene/game panel, the scene hierarchy, the content browser, and a properties panel. And I have drag and drop support. So I have this scene file here, which is a game scene.bento. I can drag and drop it in, and it will load in a scene. And I can check the properties. And for example, here we have the player, which has a script for a player script. And here is an enemy, which, well, it also has the player script. Well, let's give it the enemy script. I'm going to save that real quick. I have some simple gizmo just so I can customize things a little easier. It's pretty nice. So yeah. I can also reset the rotations by pressing on the coordinates, also the positions. So that's cool. And yeah, I can also scale it if I want. But right now the scale is kind of exponentially large, depending on how much the scale actually is a factor. So yeah, it is kind of hard to control, to be honest. So maybe I'll change it around at some point. But yeah, and the player script right now I just did some testing with some ray casting, which shoots a ray onto the enemy and makes it take damage. So if I should do around 20 damage. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it gets destroyed. So I want to show around what my game engine has so far, and it's so well. This is the Bento editor. So this is the game engine editor, which is built around my game engine API, and has the visual stuff of the game engine. Over here we have the actual game engine API. We have some core stuff for like the applications and an entry point, which is where the game engine is actually running from, the application. I have some inputs and something called layers and layer stacks. And so the layer stacks is like, I have the game layer, which is where all the visuals are, and I have an GUI layer, which is where all my UI stuff happens. I think that's how they're used. I haven't really understood what the layers actually are on the purpose, but I do know how to use them, which is most important. Well, they work, but I think also I need to make a layer for UI, so I can attach it onto my game layer and maybe draw UI from that. I think that's how it should be treated. I have some mouse codes and also have some platform detections. I actually haven't tested it. Well, it does detect Windows, but I don't have Apple and Mac, so I don't know if I can detect those platforms. This is just some example code that I found on how to detect other platforms, because I do want to in the future to have build support for platforms. And I have something called the UUIDs, which is used for my entities so they can all have a unique ID. And also we have the window class. itself. And I have an event system, something for AmGUI, so the AmGUI layer, and all that. I just have some quick maps. Nothing important. This is just something that's been. I use a library called GLM for the maps, and they I think they just removed this decomposed transform, but I needed it for the gizmos, so I just copy pasted it in from an older version. Also have physics. They aren't really that crazy. I just have the things for the world steps and how to create a body, and the body is a rigid body. And I can also shoot out raycasts with a raycast hits, which reports a fixture as a callback. And this is where I can put in custom game engine things with some data, so I get my hit entity. Then I have some platform specific stuff. Right now I am using OpenGL for my graphics. I am planning to transition to using Vulkan because Vulkan is better, but right now I'm just focusing on 2D 2D game engine stuff. So I think OpenGL is fine for that. But when I want to transition to 3D, I want to have a focus on Vulkan because Vulkan is really useful. I use Vulkan for my shaders because Vulkan has a tool called SPIRV, which can compile Vulkan GLSL shaders to, for example, OpenGL shader or DirectX. I also think Metal, I'm not sure, but it's pretty cool. And then we have the Windows specific stuff for example, registering the Windows input and the Windows window. So yeah, I also have the renderer. It has a bunch of stuff. This is all just pretty much tools, but the most important thing is the renderer 2D, which is where I render all my graphics. It's quite long, but it also has a bunch of functions because there's all different ways and there's a bunch of different combination of arguments to draw, for example, a quad, and I just wanted every single combination to be available because why not? So yeah, I mean, most of the stuff here can maybe get cut out because later on, I can just use the transform now instead of having the position and the size and rotation separately. I can just use the transform for the whole thing. So maybe I can just separate this out, maybe. But yeah, right now it's possible. I also have the renderer API. This is for like switching the graphics API if at runtime if I want to build support for that in the future. Right now it just has OpenGL, so that's what's going to be. And also have the shader library, which needs some more work in the future, but right now it does the things that I want. I also had a test for like subtextures with a texture atlas. I don't use this anymore, but it's good to just have it in the future if I'm gonna play around with it longer. Data for classes, the uniform buffer, and the vertex array. Vertex array, I think, is OpenGL specific. Vulkan and DirectX doesn't use vertex arrays. So when I'm going to integrate Vulkan, I need to know how they do stuff. But mostly, these type of things I need to write. This is just general code for what all the type of shaders need, but for every single graphics API, I need to write a graphics API shader for it. I just have the general definition because I can call that and then check what API am I using and then return the graphics API specific shader that I need, which is OpenGL right now. I also have the scene kind of stuff, which is where, for example, I have my entity component system. This right here is all the game engine specific components. So we have the ID, which stores the ID of an entity. we have the tag component, which is basically just a name. I kind of want to separate it, just have a name component and then a tag component separately, because Unity has a name and then also a tag. So maybe I should separate it. And I also have the transform components with the position, rotation, and scale. And in the future, when I'm feeling more knowledgeable in quaternions, I need to remake this vector 3 to quaternion, because rotations are quaternion, and I'm making this rotation into a quaternion anyway. So why not, you know? We have the sprite renderer, the circle renderer, the camera component, script component, which actually just stores the name, because the actual script, quote unquote, script component is stored in my scripting engine as a script instance. And the script component just gets that instance by name and then runs their methods from C#. We have a native script component. This I don't need anymore. I don't really want native scripting, so I will delete this at some point. We have the rigid body 2D, the box 2D, the circle 2D colliders, and then I have a, so this is kind of but I have a group of all the components which I use for some specific stuff. With the scene, I have this mess right now where all entity has this on component added, and when I make a new engine component, I need to add this to template for an on added type, generic type script component. But the thing is, some components namely exactly needs to run some code when you gets it added to, like, kind of reset some data in the game engine, for example. So it's kind of, I don't really know how to deal with that. I probably found out sometime. This is also something that the game engine tutorial had difficulties with, but yeah, maybe I'll figure it out how to fix it at some point. But yeah, this is the scene class, which just controls how my game engine is actually running, both in edit time and runtime. And it just also controls the physics world, because that's running inside of the scene. We have the scene camera, and then we have the scene serializer, which is basically just a saving system for my scenes. So I use YAML to save all my scenes. It's pretty easy to work with when I add new stuff. It's just makes an output, YAML key, give it the name, YAML value, give it the value, and that's basically it. Then when you want to export it, import it, that was exported, imported here. You just reference the added component deserialized entity, get the component, and then you just set the protection, and then you just get the camera here, and then get the name, and then you say, oh, I want it at this type of value, and then boom, now it's imported. So it's pretty easy to work with. Then I have all the scripting. So we have the script engine, which has been the most annoying thing yet, because C# scripting. So C# scripting is basically just a puppeteer of how it's going to control my game engine. And yeah, so we have the script field types, which are just the different kinds of variables that my scripting can has. It has some C# specific variables, but I also have my own custom variables for, like, vectors and my entity. And that needs to be stored in a struct called script field, which stores the name of what script is inside, the type, this is the name of the field that is inside my script instance, what type of value is it, and then what class is it part of. And then I have this whole script class, which just stores where my what namespace it is the script in, and what is the class name of it. And then I have a hash map of all of the fields stored by their names, and then I can get the whole struct. And then the class, which is part of. Then I have the script instance. And the instance is basically the what. So this just holds data for all the possible script instances. And the script instance is actually the ones that are in the running scene. So in my example here, if I run my game engine, I have this enemy which has an enemy script and a player script. So this is basically two script instances, one of time sandbox.player and sandbox.enemy. And if I change this to player, now I have two script instances, which is both sandbox.player. So yeah, that's how it's going. And the script instance, well, it stores the instance and what type of script class it has. It stores the constructor, the onCreate method, which is basically the awake method in Unity, and the update method, of course. And then I have a field value buffer for storing the values inside of the fields in an instance. So when I try to get the field value and set it, which yeah, this is kind of a mess. Let me just copy, paste. Whoop. Yeah. So this is set field. I use. Where is it? I use it. Did I decapitate it? Probably. But anyway, I can get the fields of all that is inside the script class, and then I try to find its name in my hash map. And if I find it, I try to get the value from it, and then I can also set the value vice versa. This is what I need for my scene hierarchy panel, because in the scene hierarchy panel I can edit variables at runtime. I can't in edit time, which is kind of dumb. I need that too, but it's because I only create the script instances when I am in runtime. So maybe I shouldn't do that. I should also load it in at edit time. Just so I can edit them, and then I can copy them into runtime instead. I think that's probably easier. Well, I need to clear it first. Well, it's kind of complicated because I need to store the edited field values and also transfer them over to the copied scene when my runtime is running. I'll find a fix for it eventually. But yeah, that's basically it. And then I have the panels for my editor. I have the concept browser panel, and then I have the scene hierarchy panel, which also has a properties panel inside of it because it's tied in with the scene hierarchy panel. When I select an entity, I want to see the properties, so it's just in the same script. It's kind of long. I want to probably even not go into detail for it because I'm GUI UI. It's kind of annoying, but I am planning to make a new panel for it. Actually, an animation panel. So if I just pull up GUI on GitHub, where is it? Yeah, here. Dear GUI. Whoop. Down here at the bottom, they have a link for useful extensions as widgets, and they have a topic for. Where is it now? Well, they have a bunch of stuff. Some cool stuff is, for example, visual scripting, which is similar to the Unreal Engines. This is kind of cool. This is some different kinds, but this one is definitely the coolest one. But yeah, okay, yeah. So curve animation, gradient colors. So Bezier and curve editor. I want that for example, from here, and also the animation sequencer here using Gizmo. And I really like this one here. I already have Gizmo in my project. I use that for, yeah, this. So I should already be able to use it. It has a bunch of useful features. I really wanted to use this sequencer. it says here that it's work in progress, but I think it will be able to use 2D animations pretty easily. So when I make 2D animations, I will use the sequence of to edit it all. So yeah, this is really cool, and that's probably going to be the next thing that I'm going to integrate in my engine, and I'm gonna show it off, of course. So yeah. Ugh, this tastes so good. Amber right here, not sponsored by the way, but tastes pretty good. It's an energy drink with pineapple flavor. It's really good. I've also been quite addicted to ginger beer, probably because I am a ginger. So yeah, but yeah, okay, cool. So yeah, this is what I've been working on. That's why I haven't been making videos at all with Unity, because I've been stuck in this game engine creation loop. I think it's so cool. And I'm gonna keep working on it. But I am actually planning on making some Unity videos. I don't know when, but I am definitely planning on it. So I will do that if you want, because especially because next week I have a pretty chill week tomorrow in my university calendar. Pretty chill, as you can see, only a few hours a day. So I'm probably gonna make a video. Oh, sorry. So yeah, that's a nice little guide here on how to use all of this. I will nab all this code. So yeah, I really want this in my game engine. Also, the UI looks pretty clean. So this will probably be the next thing that I'm going to integrate. So yeah, if you're interested in trying out my game engine, feel free to let me know, and I will give you a link for it on GitHub. But before I can do that, I need to my my respiratory is kind of fucked right now. If I go to respiratories and go to Bento, the third-party libraries that I'm using are not all working, so you can actually clone it. So yeah, I only kind of make it work on me locally, but I'll make sure that I know what the error is. I just need to fork it myself and add my own fork of GLFW to my project. I think that'll make it easier to do. If not, I'm just going to copy paste all the scripts in instead. But yeah, Bento, learning experience for me, prototype, most inspiration from the Cherno's game engine series, which is called Hazel. Check it out. I did finish it now, so I am going to try and make a bunch of things that I want to do. I am really excited for it because this is actually really fucking fun. I haven't been playing video games for like weeks now. I've just been coding. I've been cracking 90s in this and trying figuring stuff out, googling and all that, and also using a little bit of ChatGPT flavor, you know, because ChatGPT gave me some good knowledge on how C# scripting can work. For example, I wanted to check. So in the game engine series, they gave the Cherno showed, oh yeah, you can have a generic T variable and try and take an entity and change it to another entity subclass using as, and then you just get the script instance for it. But the thing is, the script instance just checks if the ID is inside of all the script instances, but it doesn't know which actual script it's using. Like, I can still use player, and if I try to say as enemy, but it has the player script on, then I'll get an error, right? And I don't want that. So I tried to make an is first to like check if it actually is an enemy script that has on it, and it's actually pretty simple. So ChatGPT helped me with this because I didn't know that this existed. Because I've actually never used the object variable before. But the object variable is really customizable. It's basically just the base form of classes. So it can basically be converted into anything, but it doesn't mean that it can. But it also needs the data itself needs to also match what it's being converted to. But I am allowed to pass it into whatever I want. So basically, I'm just using a try catch here. So I get my instance, and I try to convert it into the type that I want. And if it's successful, I just return true. And if not, I catch the error so it doesn't get thrown, and then I just return false instead. In that way, when I, for example, shoot a raycast here, I check first that if an enemy is actually an enemy, and then I try to get the data as an enemy before I try to make it take damage. So that's nice, right? Pretty cool fix. I hope that you find what I'm making interesting. I will work on it. I will keep working on it because it's so cool. I really like this. Especially like I've been so hyped about this. Like when I actually sometimes make games in Unity, I try to I keep peeking the definitions in Unity, seeing like what kind of variables it is, until the point where it's just an internal call to see, okay, how are Unity doing things? Because of course I like the way Unity works. I mean, I don't like Unity as a company because they're kind of fucking us over as developers. But I do still like the way Unity is made because Unity is easy, compared to other game engines. So I've been just kind of taking inspiration on how Unity is, so you can also realize that some of the API usage matches Unity's a lot. With the way that inputs, for example, are defined, or the raycasting. I don't have a layer mask yet. I actually need that. There's a bunch of things that I need to make, but I'll get it all in eventually. It just takes time. It takes time to make game engine, of course, especially when you don't know what the fuck you're doing. Well, I am kind of knowing what the fuck I'm doing, but still though I'm not. I do want to read a book on game engines. I got recommended one by the Cherno, not like personally, but someone asked him on stream a book that he recommended, and he recommended the book. So I'm wishing the book to have the book, buy it at some point. Maybe when I'm in a little bit better financial situation. Right now I'm not, but yeah, I'll get it eventually and read it. Because it has a bunch of you can check the table of contents for free. If, for example, I have 3D animation systems on graphics APIs, or the optimal way of doing this and that, or like a cool game engine architecture and all that shit. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. It's really fun. If you're interested in trying making game engine, you should probably try it out. You're probably not gonna go far. I'm still not that far yet. I've only spent a couple of months on it. But if you're consistent with it and you try it out, well, it can be really fun. It is a rewarding experience. You learn a lot, especially if you're not that familiar with C++. You will learn a lot of C++. It is kind of easy making a game engine in the beginning. But right now, I'm at the point where the scope is... As soon as scripting came, the scope of the game engine got huge. Because scripting is what makes the game engine really customizable. Because that's where you can kind of play around with stuff and make entities reference into other entities and make it run code, I also need to make the event system in scripting at some point. But yeah, you get what I mean. It's all very cool. But yeah, that's what I've been working on. This video has already been 30 minutes long. You probably also just don't even watching till at this point. It's just me rambling about all of this code right here. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. And oh, and yeah, goodbye.